Welcome back, everybody, to the Taking You Back podcast. You're here for episode 9. We're going to talk about Little Monsters today. I am your host, Headrush. Thank you for coming back. I'm joined by Emily today. Emily, thank you for being here.
Pleasure to be here.
Today, we're going to talk about Little Monsters. It is a staff pick. It was a Sarah pick. Sarah is not on this episode. We held off as long as we possibly could. It was Sarah's pick to watch the movie. Sarah and Will, they aren't with us today. We hope they will be back at some point, get the band all back together. But you know what? We've been waiting a while. We've watched this movie a couple of times. We've wrote down plenty of notes, and we're going to talk about this very controversial, family-friendly film, I would say. Well, I wouldn't find it family-friendly, but that's what they claimed back in 1989 when it came out. We're going to talk some more about that. If you listen to our last episode, it was episode 8. Here Comes Peter Cottontail. This one's going to be dropping relatively short time after that one. Like I said, we're trying to make up, episodes we missed, do some bonus stuff, catch up, get back on schedule, get everything back on track, and then they will be coming into the regular fashion again. Thank you all for hanging in there. If you're listening, thank you very much. We appreciate it, guys. And you can find us on social media. If you want to follow us, give us a like or a share or comment or question, send a question over. So you can find us on social media at Midnight Evil Pod, P-O-D, on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Find us on Anchor, anchor.fm/Midnight Evil Podcast. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your favorite podcast. And we got a couple of news stories here. We've been hit with some losses as of late. Let's start off with this one. Rapper DMX, 50 years old, most notably a rapper, but also an actor as well in many projects, has died at only 50 years old. I guess they're saying that DMX, I believe what they said was that he had an overdose, right? And that caused a heart attack?
That's what I heard, anyway.
DMX was everywhere when I was a kid. I think he was a little bit before your time, at least his height of his popularity. But
I mean, he was still a name that, you heard.
Yeah, he was still around. I mean, he's still well known and well liked, supposedly. And I think they say he had an overdose, and let me tell you from experience, they are no joke. They're scary. Killed me. Luckily, I guess I got a little bit more lucky, but man, the overdose caused a heart attack, and he's passed away at only 50 years old now. I'm sure you've heard some DMX music over the years, correct?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen any of his films or anything, or TV projects?
I don't believe so.
So he was in a lot of stuff over the years. Romeo Must Die. That's one I remember him in a lot. Exit Wounds, Cradle to the Grave. I remember seeing all those. Cradle to the Grave, I believe, is the one he did with Steven Seagal. No, Jet Li. Okay, Jet Li. I thought he did one with Steven Seagal. He might have. I might just not be remembering which one. But Exit Wounds. Yeah, Exit Wounds with Seagal. He did a bunch of action movies. He did a lot of stuff over the years. He's lent his voice to video games for Def Jam Vendetta. He's appeared on the Chris Rock Show, South Park, Chappelle's Show. He's been on a lot of stuff over the years. Moesha, Mad TV, Chris Rock's show, Sharon Osbourne's show. I guess it's just another sad case of somebody passing away too early.
Yeah.
50 years old, man. Said on April 2nd, he was at 11 p.m. He was rushed to White Plains Hospital, where he was reported to be in critical condition after a heart attack, resulting from drug overdose. He was on life support for a while, and I guess after that, they said he was in a vegetative state with lung and brain failure. No brain activity. Now, this is all just from online reports, so if I'm wrong in any of that, please, I'm sorry. We're just reporting the news as best as we are being told it. But that's what it says, is that he had a heart attack caused by a drug overdose. 50 years old, man. That's a damn shame, Emily.
Yeah.
This is why I'm just going to stick to my marijuana. Ain't nobody overdosing on marijuana. Well, I guess you could say rest in peace, right? DMX. Hopefully he's found the peace now. But I guess let's keep the bad news going, right?
Keep the sad streak.
Keep the train on the track, and our next news story. This is a couple days old here, but I wanted to talk about it. Craig Mums Grant, most notably known from Oz, dead at only 52 years old. If you watched Oz, he was a poet on Oz. He's passed away. His cause of death is still unknown at the time of the report that I had, but he was best well known for playing Arnold Poet Jackson on all 6 seasons of Oz. The role saw him play a former heroin addict / prisoner that would recite poems to the other inmates and stuff. He got his start, doing slam poetry. He was on Def Poetry Jam back in the day. He was on Slam Nation. But yeah, without a doubt, even though he's been in a ton of stuff, he's best well known for Oz. He's done other things. Slam Nation, like I said. He was in Brooklyn Heist, Everyday People, Horace and Pete. He was in a couple episodes of. He was in Luke Cage. He was on Law and Order, SVU. He was on Sopranos, Chappelle's Show. But nothing will be more well known, I guess, than his performance as Arnold Poet Jackson. Emily, were you sad to hear about poet, Craig Grant's passing?
Yeah, of course.
I think he's a talented poet,
Yeah.
talented actor, and it's sad to see him go. Emily, one of your favorite shows, I know you say all the time, is Oz. Do you think Poet was a pretty important, good character on the show?
Oh yeah, he always had these incredible poems that, they were just so meaningful at that moment.
Yeah, and he had a good story. His poetry helped get him published, and it helped him get him out of prison. And,
Yeah.
In a sense, it also helped get him back into prison. It said, what would they say? He was a phoenix rising from the ashes of a crack house. Is that what they said in the show?
I think so.
I believe that's how they described it. Yeah, poet Craig Grant, Mums. Rest in peace, and hopefully we'll be watching more Oz and talking Poet again and enjoying his work again. And if you haven't watched Oz, I don't know where you're living. I guess under a rock if you haven't watched it yet. But man, get out there, watch some Craig Grant, watch Poet on Oz. And what do you think, Emily? Would you recommend people to go watch his performance
On Oz?
on Oz?
Oz is definitely one of my favorite shows ever, but Oz is definitely not for everybody.
That's true.
I will say that it's incredible, but
it might
I would
not be
recommend it to
everybody's.
people are okay with watching certain things.
Male on male rape.
Yeah. Drug use.
Excessive drug use.
Yeah.
Um, definitely some undertone themes, racism and violence and all that.
Yeah.
But if you can handle it.
Yeah, if you can handle watching stuff like that,
And you
I would
enjoy
totally
a hell of a
recommend.
good story, yeah. Watch out, go out of your way.
Yeah.
But yeah, rest in peace. I guess our next news story now is in light of all this sad news. Uh, taking upswing in tone, I guess, at least. But yeah, after the success of Knives Out, it looks like Netflix decided to double down. Rian Johnson will direct 2 Knives Out sequels for Netflix, with Daniel Craig returning to both. Now, we recently covered Knives Out on our Taking You Back podcast. Emily, are you excited about the prospect of 2 new sequels, or you think, nah, it's Netflix? I don't.
The reason I don't like Netflix is because for some reason on my TV, Netflix refuses to work. Other than that, I'm totally excited about the movies.
That's true. I can tell you, anytime we try to pull it up, it freezes.
You can't pause what you're watching because it will crash the whole TV.
It'll crash the whole TV. You'll have to restart everything.
Other than that, yeah, I'm excited for the movies.
Are you excited to see more of Mr. Blunt there?
Yeah.
Do you
after
think
that first one, it might be a little hard to recreate something as.
Now, do you think in any of the sequels he will eat a single iota of shit?
I don't think anyone will be eating a single iota of shit in any of the sequels.
Well, that's true. I guess if anybody was going to, it was going to be Michael Shannon. I think they said this movies will do, not directly tie into the first one, other than Daniel Craig. But I'm excited.
Yeah.
Looks like we'll have to give those a watch when they come out. But that's all the news stories I have for today. So we're gonna jump in. We're gonna jump in and talk about Little Monsters. This is episode 9 of the Taking You Back podcast. It was originally supposed to be episode 8, but we were trying to hold out, wait to see if Sarah could get around, but she's not available currently. So Little Monsters were released on August 25th, 1989. It was a family comedy. Well, supposedly a family comedy. An hour and 43 minutes. It had a budget of $7 million and a box office of $793,000. They lost a bunch of money making this movie. We're talking like $6-7 million they lost. It was distributed by United Artists. Production company was Vestron Pictures. It was directed by Richard Allen Greenberg and was written by Terry Rossio and Ted Elliott. Now the cast is pretty noticeable, and it's starring Fred Savage, Ben Savage, Daniel Stern, Harry Mandel, just to name a few. Do you remember when you first discovered this movie, Emily? What your thoughts were and the first impressions?
Well, the first time I watched this movie was for this podcast.
Okay.
And at first I thought, seems like an innocent enough movie. Kid maybe going through puberty or something. But I don't know. My thoughts on this movie changed as I watched it.
Yeah. When I first watched the movie, I was a kid probably. 3-4 years old, and you like the bright colors, you like the monsters, you like the look, you like the kid sticking up for himself. If you haven't watched this movie in a long time, if you're just listening because you listen to our show, or if you just haven't watched the movie in a long time, watch this movie as an adult. Even as we're recording and the movie's on in the background, Harry Mandel's character just pants the young boy. Watch this as an adult. If you're listening to this because you love the family movie and you want to recreate your childhood in some way, thinking heartwarming memories, turn it off now.
Yeah.
It's gonna get dark. Emily, did you have a favorite character in the movie?
I guess my favorite character is probably Maurice, even though he's a little bit controversial.
Now, Maurice makes me directly think of Big Mouth, personally.
Same name.
Same
they
name,
both got
Maurice.
horns. They're both hanging around young boys,
Yeah.
showing them new things.
And when I first watched this movie as an adult, halfway through the movie, I was thinking it was a metaphor for puberty.
That's what I was thinking.
Which is the feel I got, at first at least, for the first half of the movie. And it makes me think, puberty monster, Big Mouth. His name is Maurice. It made me directly, and I also think Monsters Inc. stole a lot from this as well, with the doors and different childhoods. And...
Yeah, in this movie, the monster's job is to cause chaos and mayhem.
Yeah.
And basically, it seems like they sneak into children's rooms at night and scare them.
Through doors.
Basically Monsters Inc.
Through the doors too.
Yeah.
There just wasn't a better system for replacing the doors.
Yeah.
It seems like they just have to walk around until they find the doors in this one. I think my favorite character has just got to be. It's got to be Daniel Stern. It's got to be the dad. I know he's a dick in this movie, but
I don't like the parents because they're kind of fucked up to the kids. Like,
now, is the dad a dick, or is he just in over his head?
Yeah, but you shouldn't take that out on your kids.
He's got a new job that he's got a new house, and no, I don't think he should take it out on the kids. I think he needs to sit back and take a look back at what he really wants in life, and I bet you it's not that office job.
Yeah.
I'm just such a big Daniel Stern fan. I can't think of a movie where he's not my favorite character, I guess.
That's fair.
All right. So do you have a feeling one way or the other on the overall look and tone, like the cinematography, like?
I really liked it. I really like the way the movie looks. I especially like what they did with I guess where the monsters come from. I love the whole feel and the tone of The only name I could find for that referring to it was just Monster World. It's the only thing I can find people are referring to it as. I guess it's Monster World. Yeah. I like how it looked, especially in Monster World, honestly. And the rest of the movie just reeks of 80s awesomeness. Yeah. So good. I can't get enough of it. It's just great. The rest of the movie even looked really good. The monsters look off, but I mean, they're monsters. I guess they can look like anything, really, right? Some of them look a little better than others. Yeah. But I think some of them just look completely ridiculous. But they're monsters, like you said. Are they really the monsters, though? Because Fred Savage ate peanut butter and onion sandwiches. So who's the monster here? Yeah, I don't what understand. The fuck was that? I don't understand what his parents did to him as a child that made him eat peanut butter and onion sandwiches. I've eaten some terrible things in my life. That's just... I've put my body through more abuse than anybody can imagine in their life. But what the fuck was that about? That was ridiculous. Imagine being at the deli and you hear like, James, your peanut butter and onion sandwich is ready. I'm like, what? I'd be like, who the fuck? We need to get this motherfucker out of here now. He's about to murder all of us. Yeah. He's crazy. He's eating peanut butter and onions. He's crazy. He's gonna murder everybody here. He's gonna kill all y'all. Hide your kids, hide your wives. He's murdering everybody. Okay? Shit is going down. So I don't think you can call them the monsters when he's eating peanut butter and onion. That's all I'm saying. What did you think of the ending of the movie? The ending? Like, I don't... It's so... Like, they were in a different state. Where did they end up? In Malibu, California? Yeah. Imagine... And they were in Massachusetts? Imagine being the parent... Boston? Who gets the phone call from your child saying they're in a different state. Even. Didn't they realize they were missing like later on, like early that morning or something? Yeah, but at first they didn't. That's what I mean, though. No, at first they didn't. I got no clue. But imagine as like getting a phone call like, I'm in California. Like, how the fuck did you get there? You're a child. You don't have a car. You don't
And
have
you
money.
weren't kidnapped.
And you weren't. Yeah, you weren't kidnapped.
You voluntarily
I mean,
went to Monster World.
one of my favorite scenes in the movie is the goodbye scene between Maurice and Brian. Just because the whole feel of that scene.
Yeah.
It looks like there's like shooting
scenes
stars.
Favorite scenes or other favorite characters or anything about the movie in general otherwise that you liked, enjoyed?
I like all of it. I really do. I like the way it looks and feels. I like all of Monster World a lot. I like it, in some points when they're in Monster World, there's these little like bursts of light that almost look like fireworks.
Yeah.
I have no idea what those are, but it looks really cool. It just has like a whole like. It's very whimsical at points, but there's very dark undertones.
Yeah, there's dark undertones, without a doubt.
It's very whimsical and.
I don't think you see him as a kid though.
No, as a kid, even in kid shows today, in movies, there's adult jokes. You just don't get them when you're a kid. It's like in Disney movies, there's a lot of adult jokes in some Disney movies, but when you're a kid, you don't realize.
We love you, Disney.
I'm not saying it as a bad thing.
Don't sue us.
Even a lot of the TV shows I watched growing up, like I'll rewatch certain episodes and I'll be like, what did they just say?
Is Our Real Monsters, you think, maybe kind of inspired by Little Monsters even? They're scaring the kids.
I think it could be because they go to scaring school in that show, basically.
Yeah. I think it's not a direct revolve or anything like that, but it's definitely inspired.
It's a little similar, maybe.
So I wasn't the only one who picked up on the undertones of the movie, and we'll get to that in a second. We had some other stuff here. I'm trying to find these notes, guys. We wrote down these notes so long ago. Give me 1 second. Seeing young Fraggle Savage brings back memories, though. I'll tell you that much. I grew up a big fan of Wonder Years. I'm sorry, and it just looks like Kevin Arnold to me. Anytime I see him, and the fact that Daniel Stern plays his dad, and Daniel Stern is the voice of the Wonder Years, so you got the face and the voice of the show. It's like a reunion. And then you got Ben Savage, Fred's real life little brother. He's such a baby face, and you think that's Corey. It's just a nice throwback to all these different 80s and 90s shows that we loved and watched. His dad reminded me of every dad in the 80s ever. Working too much, overstressed, not really too connected to the kids.
Well, at one point he said he has to commute like 2 hours to work.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's 4 hours.
That's what I'm saying. He reminded me of every dad growing up. We barely saw him. He just came home super late, exhausted. You gave him the big piece of chicken. You gave him a beer, and you called it a night, and that was it. And that was quality time. Not only did that reminds me, of stuff like that in the past, but speaking of things in the past that you shouldn't do nowadays, the principal grabs the kid right by the face at one point, and he's trying to break up. I think the fight or something. He grabs the kid by the face.
I mean, I guess back then, they're kids too. They're not like. I mean, I guess if they're physically fighting each other.
Yeah, that definitely wouldn't pass for okay nowadays. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure it still happens. I never saw a fight
when I was that young in school. Like in high school, some of the kids fought, but they had security guards come and break them up.
Well, you should never fight. Avoid it if you can, guys. Right? That's the message we're saying here on Little Monsters. Is all about the family-friendly message.
Yeah, just pee in the bully's apple juice instead, and let him drink it.
Yeah, just make him just make him drink piss.
Just make him drink pee.
Yeah, somebody bullies you or pisses you off, fucking piss on them. Fucking. Yeah, you just walk up to them.
Piss in their apple juice.
Yeah. Hey, work for teaching Sean. Just pee on his leg.
Yeah.
and then you go for a walk on a cemetery wall, call it a day. I did that. If anybody doesn't know the story, and unless you're family, you probably don't know. So there's a cemetery in Riverhead, right by the circle, right over by the hospital and stuff. And as a kid, walking on the freaking wall, just like he was doing in the movie, and fell off and slammed my back right on the concrete.
That's gotta hurt.
Oh,
That's gotta hurt like a son of a bitch.
I had asthma, went to full-blown asthma attack. Not to mention, like you said, how bad it hurt landing.
Well, yeah, it's gonna knock the wind out of you.
Oh yeah, it did. It killed me. So I highly recommend don't fucking do that.
Or if you do, be prepared to fall.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it.
You're gonna get hurt. If you pizza when you should have French fried, you're not gonna have a good time.
You're gonna have a bad time.
That's all there is to it. Another thing that takes me back, which is fitting for the Taking You Back podcast, I guess, right? Yeah. He just took apart all the bikes. This is back in the day when we were kids. Something broke. You just went and found something that you thought was a tool, and you just figured out how to fix it yourself. You learned how to take it apart, put it together all by yourself. And that's what I thought of when he was just taking the bikes apart and trying to set up booby traps and stuff. I mean, who didn't?
Yeah, there's always like a booby trap montage in 80s movies.
Every 80s movie has a montage where we're just setting up traps.
Like
right on the street.
They're always cool.
Yeah.
Because setting up booby traps is cool.
Last house on the left, there were some booby traps. They used the shaving cream and stuff like that.
I've still never seen that.
Well, you should. I highly recommend it. The eyes popping out of his head, that was some good effects. I thought that was good.
His hand turning into a dog.
His hand turning into a dog.
So
I did not think that looked good. I thought that looked like a puppet.
I did not think that looked like a dog.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, Maurice pissing and running to Bully's apple juice. That was like a... And then he drinks it, and he says, "Who put piss in my apple juice?"
I don't know.
So, does that mean he's tasted piss before?
Well...
Because he instantly knew.
I mean, maybe maybe it's one of those things where you know what it is when you taste it. Maybe it's like something that can't possibly... Like, I've never had piss before, but I assume it's very potent.
I would imagine so.
I would imagine you can't mistake it for anything but piss.
Guys, anybody out there who's drinking piss before?
Yeah, give us some advice on this. Yeah. Would you know what it was if you've never drank it before?
Or do you have to drink it a couple times before you get the taste for it? Or is it like Tang? You just know. Well, that's Tang. Yeah. The astronauts drinking piss to go to the moon. I don't know. Send us your comment.
I think this is the weirdest question you've ever asked.
What does piss taste like?
Do you know piss when you taste it for the first time?
Is it salty, you think?
Probably depends on what
Probably shouldn't drink piss with a bag of chips, because then it's just salt on salt.
Ew.
And you just got too much salt going on. Yeah, Maurice pantsed him. And then the girl monster says, "Nice ass." We'll get more back to those undertones. He makes a joke about when he has the dog on his hand, man's best friend, and then he goes, his right hand.
Yeah.
That was a fucking masturbation joke in a kids' movie.
Doesn't Maurice also flick his tongue at Kirsten while she's sleeping?
Yes.
At one point.
The very young girl sleeping.
Who was how old? What, like 11?
Well, he turns 11 in the movie.
Okay.
So
she's probably 10 or 11.
Probably 10 or 11. He turned 11, and I guess in that process he started turning into a fucking monster. Who was the other monster says, "Why doesn't he just play with himself?" Multiple masturbation jokes.
Yeah, there's a few.
For a children's movie. Overall, I guess I like the ending of the movie. I like the overall feel. Would you watch it again?
I would definitely watch it again. It's a really good movie. It's just when you're paying attention to it, it's kind of dark.
It's hard to enjoy, I feel like, with all the subtle little things going on in the background. Did you pick up on any homosexual or pedophile vibes present in the movie?
It picks up on a few things that could definitely be interpreted as being kind of like metaphors.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, everything about the boy,
Yeah.
his entire character, the fact that he appears to be normal, but when light hits him, his skin comes off and he's a monster.
He's a monster.
And how he's trading one boy for another boy's freedom.
Which they probably did a lot in Hollywood at this time in the 80s. Or to this day.
It's, yeah. How his whole room is all toys.
Yeah.
For his new children friends to play with.
Yeah.
There's definitely some undertones.
There's definitely, so, like I said, I watched this movie as a kid when I first saw it. Then I watched it as an adult later on, and I thought, is it just me? Am I the only one that's picked up on this? Just Google it. Little Monsters controversy, Little Monsters pedophile. There's so many. We're not the only ones saying this, guys. There's so many suggestive dialogue.
Yeah, if you think we're crazy, just Google it.
Yeah.
Because there's articles.
Snick. He says at one point, "You're scared of me, aren't you?" I like that. Oh, I love that. Like, come on. Why doesn't boy just play with himself?
Are we not going to talk about my knees hurt?
I'm getting there. Boy decided he wanted Brian himself to play with. And then this all leads to a particularly odd scene between Snick and a kid that just ran out of the boys' chamber. And which Snick says, "Boy asked you to do a favor, and you should take it as a compliment." Kid replies, "I tried, Snick, I tried." "Well, you didn't try hard enough, kid." And he said, "Well, my knees hurt." So he had to stop doing the favor because his knees hurt. So what's the favor?
We know what the favor is.
So he's blowing them.
When you think about it in context of everything else in this movie, what else could that mean? If someone's got other theories, let us know.
And the more time he spends in Monster World, the more he starts turning into a monster.
Which is usually how that works. The more experiences you're exposed to, the more it's going to affect you. I
took this movie as a kid's movie at first. Then I watched more and more, and it made me think of Hollywood and the monsters or the agents and the managers, and then as he starts being messed with, they kind of take him under their wing, and then he was going with them to scare kids and stuff like that. And it almost makes me feel like it's a metaphor for the cycle of abuse. Like,
and then when they took him to scare a baby, and he was all upset about it,
and he couldn't do it. He said it wasn't right, and it makes me think that this whole thing is about them trying to make him into the monster they are, to repeat the cycle. And then he wouldn't do it because he didn't want to hurt the baby, he didn't want to hurt innocence, and it's just, there's a lot of symbolism here. There's a lot of things going on. It definitely feels like there's undertones. That was the feeling I got, was that, well, it's just very, it doesn't play well these days. With everything going on, it just doesn't play well. There's other things scattered throughout the movie, and when Brian finally sees how wicked the monsters are because they wanted to they picked out the baby. And then when they go to the girl's house and she's sleeping and all that, and they're just watching her. And I don't know if pedophilia was the intentional theme of the movie, but it came off that way.
I think if it was intentional, it's almost like they're trying to give hints to it without saying it explicitly.
Yeah.
Kind of like talking about something without, exposing anything or anyone
without
specific.
Addressing it straight up.
Yeah.
This is what's going on, and this is what we're going to say about it. No. Let's not do that. Let's go around, beat around the bush a little bit. Listen, it's a kid's movie. Is it a good movie? Yeah, absolutely. If you sit down and watch this movie with your kids, they're gonna love it. If you just watch the movie and don't, run around in your head like everybody does constantly, trying to stay focused on something, you just watch the movie and you focus on the movie, you're gonna love it. But if you sitting there and you're trying to read into it and think about things, and you're gonna come from a different perspective of what's going on here, and what is this movie that I used to love and enjoy? This is not the same movie nowadays. I can't think of any other movie that I watched as a kid that I watch now that would be that different and that tone even. Um, Emily, do you have anything else for Little Monsters this week?
I think we summed it up good. I think it's a really good movie, but when you read into it more, it gets a little bit darker.
I think there's some dark undertones here, and like I said, guys, this was a Sarah pick. She unfortunately couldn't be here. Um, we're gonna keep on trucking though. Last week was Here Comes Peter Cottontail. Uh, I'm not really sure what next week's episode is. Did we figure it out? Is it going to be Almost Famous?
I believe so.
I believe Almost Famous is going to be next week's episode. That was the staff pick by me, Ed Bush. So we got the staff pick or two coming up. Hopefully we'll get Sarah and Will to come back at some time, and we'll get Sarah's opinion on Little Monsters and see what she thinks about the movie. It was her pick. She didn't see the same undertones that we did. Will picked up on it, but Sarah says that she doesn't get that vibe. So it'll be good to get different opinions too. We are on social media, guys. If you want to follow us, stay up to date on all the things coming and going and what's new. We got some other ideas in the can, and we're getting back on track on these shows first, and then down the line, if we have more time, we'll talk about other projects. We bounced around and some ideas. We talked about doing a podcast all about Oz, HBO's show. We've talked about doing other podcasts, and there's some ideas I have. I mean, hell, I would love to do one that's just old black and white monster movies or old kaiju movies, or there's just so much time and not enough of it ever. But we'll get out of here. I'm rambling on. This episode's a little shorter. We're doing our best here, getting you these out timely and fashionably close to on schedule as we can. It's a little late, got out of hand there, but we're making it up. We got some more coming, guys. Throughout the next week or two, you'll see scattered episodes, makeup episodes, bonus episode here or there, maybe. Trying to get back on schedule. So our next episode will be Almost Famous. That will drop sometime later in the week, probably. Try to catch up, like I said. And that's all I have. Oh, you know what? We forgot last week. We talked about Peter Cottontail. I almost did it again. I almost jumped off this show without sharing my Easter story.
Oh, yeah.
So it was gotta be 2 years ago. I come from a very laid-back family, and I don't know if I'm not supposed to mention names or anything. So me and my cousin Nicole, sorry, I got this bag of edibles, right? And it's Sour Patch Kid edibles. They're pretty strong milligrams. So we're going to go to Easter at my aunt's house. Everybody's going to be there, the whole family, right? So we eat a couple of these Sour Patch Kids. We're not feeling anything, as edibles will do. You don't ever feel anything until you stand up and have to function.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, well, we look at the bag, it's maybe like 20 left. 15, 20 left. So I'm not going to say for definite it was my idea, but I'm going to say with high probability it was my idea. Hey, let's split all the ones that we have left and eat all of them.
Oh boy.
Well, we had to eat another 8 to 10 each, more. And of course, we're sitting there for like 5, 10 minutes. We're like, still nothing. This is ridiculous. All right. Well, let's go. Let's go to Ryan's house. Let's have Easter dinner with the family. And yeah, uh, we get there and we pull up, and it's probably a matter within minutes. We are fucking wrecked. We are trashed.
That's how edibles work.
Anybody who's saying anything to me, it could be like sunshine and rainbows, and it's just hilarious. I'm just laughing so hard. I can't breathe. I can't stop laughing. Nicole's dying in the corner. She's laughing her ass off. Yeah. It's Easter with my family, and everybody was laughing with us. Nobody was mad. They all thought it was quite entertaining. Yeah, I just wanted to share that little Easter story. As you can tell, Easter and intoxicants run rampant at times, I guess. But I also remember a couple times it's snowing on Easter. You remember that? When you were a kid, did you ever see it snowing on Easter?
Maybe.
No, like there was one year we're taking Slade out and he's doing the Easter egg hunt, and it's just snowing, and you're outside and it's in April, and you're like, what the heck is going on? It really isn't, what you would expect, I guess. And did you guys do Easter egg hunts when you were kids?
Yeah, we would have some. We would have like an Easter egg hunt sometimes. Like my family would do a scavenger hunt in the yard or whatever.
You did it outside the Easter egg hunt? Were they plastic eggs with stuff in them, or were they the hard eggs?
Plastic ones.
Plastic ones, but you colored the real eggs, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's what we are.
Real eggs.
I guess we switch depending on the year, I guess. Is color the eggs, and sometimes you just use plastic eggs. You get the gold egg, of course. You got to put like $1 or something in there. Mm. But I think with inflation nowadays, you got to stick 100 in there. I don't know how it works anymore. Back in the day, we'd get a quarter.
Yeah.
That would come out of your allowance.
It'd be like nickels. And...
They'd be like, well, you got it, so that's your allowance this week. Like, whoa, that's not how that works. Wait a minute. It's supposed to be in addition. You ever heard of tips? But yeah, we just wanted to share that Easter story and talk a little bit more about Easter. And we got out of there a little quick last week, but that was a bonus episode that we just wanted to get to you guys. So coming up for the Midnight in the Podcast of Evil, we are going to do April Fool's Day first. I was trying to hold out and do a Nightmare on Elm Street. I wanted that to be the big episode 10, but April Fool's Day is already late. Nightmare is way later. I'd rather put more time into Nightmare. I got a lot of notes for that one. I'm trying to get other people on the show for that one. So episode 10 for the Midnight in the Podcast of Evil will be out sometime in this week. And it will be covering April Fool's Day. It is the 35-year anniversary. It was my first showing of this movie. I think it was your first showing for the movie too, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that coming up soon, next week. For Taking You Back, we'll be Almost Famous. We're going to get out of here. We got more shows to watch. We got more movies to watch. More catching up to do. We're going to get out of here and leave y'all with the final thought. Go back, watch Little Monsters, give it a whirl, pay attention, and tell us what you think. We'll be here next week. Give us your thoughts. What you thought on Little Monster, how piss tastes. We'll be here. Just let us know, and we'll take you back to more movies you love. Thank you, Emily. Thank you for being here.
Always a pleasure.
Good night, guys.